Greetings, it's Iain from RTO here. Welcome to another Marathon Wednesday. And today we have got a viewer's request for you, and this is for the band Foghat, an English rock band that was formed in 1971. The band is known for their use of electric slide guitar in its music. The band was initially featured Dave Peverett on guitar and vocals, Tony Stevens on bass, Roger Earl on drums, and then they recruited Rod Price on guitar and slide guitar. They relocated to the United States after signing a deal with Bearsville Records, and unfortunately they didn't have the success here in UK that they had in America. I only discovered Foghat probably in the 90s, to be quite honest, but I love that bluesy slide stuff, and they're a pretty damn good band. Like most of their stuff, there's some of their stuff that I'm not keen on. That'll be the stuff at the bottom of this ranking. So they've released 16 studio albums, so we will get a cracking. So coming in at number 16, we have the 9th album called Tight Shoes. It was released in 1980, and it was the last release for Rod Price until he returned in 1994. So it's Dave Peverett on rhythm and vocals, Rod Price lead guitar, slide guitar, Craig McGregor on bass, and Roger Earl on drums. First track on this one, Stranger in My Hometown. Really strange track, very funky, very commercial. Loose ends, very pop song, very little slide guitar on this, not very good at all. Full Time Lover, this isn't too bad. It's got some nice riffs on it, some nice guitar work on it. It's okay. Maybe I can change your mind. Fortunately, this is very commercial from the 1980s. Even this is 1980, it's crept in. It's not very good. Too Late, The Hero, best track on the album. Even though it's got that 80s production, it's quite rocky. Dead End Street, very commercial rock, don't like it at all. Be My Woman, it does not sound like Foghat at all. No Hard Feelings, it's just, again, very weak track and does nothing for me, does not sound like Foghat. A very commercial sounding rock album that doesn't light my fire, I'm afraid. One or two tracks are alright, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 2 out of 10. Coming in at number 15 then, we go to the 8th album now, and it was released in 1979, and it is called A Boogie Motel. Craig McGregor bass, Dave Peverett on guitars, Rod Price on guitars, Roger Earl on the drums. Guests on here are Jimmy Ambrosio on accordion, Colin Earl on keyboards. First track on here is Somebody Sleeping in My Bed. This is a cover of a song by Proofed Aged, and it's a very good cover of this song. I like that song. Third Time Lucky, I Was a Fool, this is okay, nice guitar solo in that. Coming Down With Love, that's alright. Paradise Alley, sounds more like a Smokey track than anything else. Boogie Motel, that's not very good, I'm not very keen on that one. Love in Motion, the best song on this album. It's more rocky than poppy, which is what I want to hear. And the last track on here is Nervous Release, another one of those rocky songs that's not too bad. I think this album's a little bit of a hit and miss. They're starting to change their direction, but it's not one of the best albums, so I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 5 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 14, We got the 12th album released in 1983, and it's called Zig-Zag Walk. We've got Dave Peverett on the lead vocals. Eric Cartwright is now on the guitar and slide. Eli Jenkins plays the bass, and Roger Earl, as ever, is on the drums. That's what love can do. Still got 80s feel to it, but I do like the guitar in this one. It's pretty good. Zig-Zag Walk, it's the worst track that Foghat ever did. It is absolutely awful. Then we get a cover, and it's Choo Choo Chugga Boogie. Now this is a song that was recorded in 1946 by Louis Jordan and his Timpani 5. It's okay actually, it's got a nice boogie feel to it, and they've done a reasonably good version of it. I've heard the original and I think Foghat's is pretty cool. Jenny Don't Mind, horrible drum sound on it, it just ruins it. It's got that horrible 80s crap, don't like it. Three Wheel Cadillac, quite a rock and roll number, pretty good, I like that one. It'll Be Me, how many covers have I got of this on albums? So many. It's not a bad version of it though. Silent Treatment, another little rock and roll number. This is my favourite track on the album. I like a little bit of rock and roll, as you know. Down the Road a Piece, written in 1940 again. This is an old song and it's pretty good. Nice old bluesy song. 7 Day Weekend, got a nice little bit of harmonica on there. Linda Lou's not too bad. Isn't a bad album. It's the production that lets this one down, especially on the drumming. I like some of the boogie covers they've done on here. They're pretty good. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 5.5. Okay then, coming in at number 13, we have the 11th album released in 1982. And it is called In the Mood for Something Rude. On here we've got Roger Earl on the drums, Dave Peverett on the lead vocals and guitars, Craig McGregor's on bass, and Eric Cartwright on guitar. First track on here is called Slipped and Fell in Love. It's a track that was done by Ann Peeble in 1971, and I quite like this version. It's a little bit more rocky than the original, but it's in the same vein. Busting Up or Busting Out, Cy Johnson track from 1975, heavier than the original. I like the riffs in this, it's pretty good. Take This Heart of Mine, of course, is a Smokey Robinson song and was done in 1966. And it is a pretty good version of it, interesting as well, not bad. Love Rustler, again, it's first released by Travis Womack in 1975. They do a really good version of that, I don't mind that. Then we've got Ain't Living Long Like This, a song was first recorded by Gary Stewart in 1977. It's virtually the same sounding, and I like this version better. Then we have another Cy Johnson track, Back for the Taste of Your Love. I don't know much about this artist, but I've heard the original, and I think this version is a little bit better. This Ain't Much of a Man, another cover, lots of covers on this. First released by Bobby Hunton in 1973, and this version's much rockier. And then we got a James Brown number, I Do Just Want. Start again, Iain. And I do just what I want. What I want. Yeah, mouthful there. It's all right. Now, for an album full of covers, it's okay. There's some bad versions of songs on here, but there's some that are even better than the originals. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 12, we go to 1994 now, and the return of the Boogie Man. the album that reunited the original members of the band. So it's Dave Peverett, Roger Earl, Rod Price and Tony Stevens. First track on here is called Jump That Train. I love this song. It's got a really good bluesy feel to it. Then we get Louisiana Blues, the old Muddy Water song, and they do a fantastic version of it. Really like that track. Then we get Motel Shaker, great little rock track, solid, good stuff. Play Dirty, blues playing on here is brilliant. Love that track. Nothing But Trouble. Really goes back to the old days. This is it. It's a really strong track. Then we get Talk to My Baby, a great cover of the Elmore James track. Love the guitar solo on here, absolutely brilliant. Then we got I Just Want to Make Love to You. It's been covered by everyone. Etta James is the most famous. There's some really bad versions of this, and there's some really good ones, and this goes in the category of a really good version. Take Me to the River, a very good version of that Al Green song. That's Alright Mama, it's okay, but it's not as good as Elvis's version. Feel So Good, Bill Bronzy number, of course. Muddy Waters did a version of this, and there's not much difference, it's just great. I Want You to Love Me, another Muddy Waters track, fabulous version, I like that. And the best track on here is one of their own, Writing on the Wall. It's just a great rock and roll bluesy number, love this. I think this is a really good album. The covers are great, the original songs are good. You know, it was nice to see them get back together for this one. It's a solid album, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.5. Okay, coming in at number 11, we've got the 10th album released in 1981, and it's called Girls to Chat and Boys to Bounce, and it's the first album with Eric Cartwright. So it's Dave Peverett on the guitars, Eric Cartwright on guitars, Craig McGregor on bass, Roger Earl on the drums, and Nick Jameson does the keyboards. Wide Boy, rocky 70s, 80s, it's alright actually. Let Me Get Close to You, it's got some nice guitar work in it, I don't mind that one at all. Live Now, Pay Later, great track. I love the guitars on this new guitarist Eric Cartwright, absolutely belter of a track. Love Zone again, a really solid track. I love the guitar work in this. Delayed Reaction, very pleasant song, not one of my favourites. Second Childhood, nice boogie track this is, gets your feet tapping, really good. Weekend Driver, I love this. It's a really strong track, great good old fashioned rock track. Then we get Sing About Love, which is live. They might be live, but it's a great track, absolutely brilliant. I think this album is one of the better albums from the 80s actually. It's got a lot of good rock on it, and I don't mind this one at all. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6.6. Okay, then coming in at number 10, we've got the 17th album now, released in 2016, Under the Influence. They've got Kim Simmons, who was a guitarist in Savoy Brown, which was the band before Foghat, makes an appearance. So we've got Brian Bassett on lead and slide guitar on this one, Roger Earl on drums, Charlie Hunn lead vocals and rhythm guitar, Craig McGregor on bass, Nick James doing some bass, King Simmons does a bit. There's quite a few people on here, so we've got really none of the originals, but it's a really good album. So first track, Under the Influence, love this track, great rock track. Knock It Off, love the guitar work here from Brian Barrett and Charlie Hearn, played together well, good old fashioned rock. Ghost, strong drumming on this, brilliant, absolutely superb track. from Roger Earl. It's good that he's still the original member. She's Got a Ring in His Nose, really good version of this Savoy Brown number. So you've got Kim playing on that. Upside the Lonely, a Tom Hambridge cover. They do a really good version of that song. I heard it through the grapevine. There's been some good covers of this. I think this is my third favourite version behind the original and Creedence Clearwater Revival's version. Make Up Your Mind, another Savoy Brown cover. It's a great track, like that. Hot Mama, I like this. It's it's the original song and it is fantastic. Heart Gone Cold, I like this a lot. It's just a really nice bluesy sound. Honey-Do List, funky sound, it's okay. All Because of You, a very good track. The bass line on this is terrific. Slow Ride, which is one of theirs, they've redone it. It's okay. I think this is a really good album. Okay, there's only Roger Earl really from the original band. But I think that Charlie Hunnam and Brian Bassett do a great job on guitars and singing. It's a fantastic album. And I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Time for a sip of coffee. Okay, coming in at number 9, we're going to the 14th album now, released in 2003. It's the first album without founding member guitarist Dave Peverett, and their first album to feature Charlie Hunnam and Brian Bassett. So on here we have got Charlie Hunnam on lead vocals and guitar, Brian Bassett on guitar, Tony Stevens on the bass, and Roger Earl on the drums. First track on here is Mumbo Jumbo, solid track, great rocky boogie number, really like that. Hero to Zero, solid track. Again, it's just got that tapping, let's get on, just love it. Thames Delta Blues, love this. This is a great slow bluesy number, and it's really got the sound of Foghat on that. Brilliant stuff. Flat Busted and Out of Gas. It's just good old-fashioned boogie music, and I can't fault that. I Feel Fine, my favourite track on here. I love the guitar sound on this. Okay, no effects, but the bass line is terrific. Brilliant stuff. I'm a Rock and Roller, just as what it says on the tin. Great riffs, great foot tapping boogie music. Hit the Ground Running. There's just something about blues rock, isn't there? That's a brilliant track. Looking for You, great start to this. That bass line from Tony, brilliant stuff. Love that track. Long time coming, some great riffs in this, quite heavy. Some of that guitar work reminds me of Fleetwood Mac's Oh Well. Really good. Then we got a track called Sex with the X. Great foot tapper. And a head nodder. Really good. Self-Medicated, another solid track from Foghat. All that elements of boogie rock. Mean Voodoo Woman. Just what it says on the tin. That is Foghat. Classic Foghat sound. And then we get Voodoo Woman Blues. It's an acoustic solo blues track, and I love that. I love that sort of bluesy slide guitar. Excellent. Another album that hasn't got a bad track on it. Solid album from top to bottom, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.3. Okay, then coming in at number 8, we have got the most current album, 16th, Last Train Home, released in 2010. So on this album we've got Brian Bassett on guitar and slide guitar vocals, Colin Earl on the keyboards, Roger Earl on the drums as ever, Jeff Howell on bass, Charlie Hunnam on guitars, Eddie Kirkland on guitar. and Lefty Sugar Lips Leftwatski is on the harmonica. First track on here, Born for the Road, that opening riff. Wow, great guitar solo and some great slide guitar here from Brian. Superb track. Needle and Spoon, a great version of the Savoy Brown track. Very, very good. I like that version. Then we got So Many Roads, So Many Trains, the Otis Rush number, and they do a fantastic version of this. Great track. Last Train Home, the slide guitar on this is just brilliant from Brian Bassett. I'll just love slide guitar, full stop. Shake Your Money Maker, an Elmore James number, and again they really do a brilliant version to it. Love that track. I love Elmore James's version. Then we get another Elmore James track, It Hurts Me Too. Brilliant. These are really good blues guitarists, and as great vocals as well. They are a really good bluesy band. Feel So Bad, a bluesy track from Jack Willis. Brilliant stuff. Then they do another version of Louisiana Blues. I don't mind. It was on the Return to the Boogie Man, but I love the track anyway, and can't get enough of Muddy Waters. Boogie, a great version of this track. It's a very Jerry Lee Lewis piano style, that rolling dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum bum, and the harmonica from Sugar Lips is brilliant. It's an original track, but it's got so much of that Jerry Lee Lewis sound. I really like that track, and that's probably why it's my favourite track. Then we get Rolling and a Tumbling, You Need Love, Willie Dixon. All I can say is this is why I love the blues. It's that sound. In My Dreams, great blues track, an original track from Eddie Kirkland. It's brilliant. Good Day, another brilliant blues track. Modern day blues at its best. Last track on the album. This is my favourite album of the later period of Foghat. You know, 2010 they came out with an absolute belter, even though there's some covers on it. It's just great blues boogie music, and I can listen to this all day. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay, now we're moving into the classic era of Foghat for me. So I only discovered them in the 90s. No, you know, I went and brought the first album and I loved it. And talking of that debut album, it is my number 7, and it was the first of 2 self-titled albums in 1972. This one is called just Foghat. It's Dave Peverett, Rod Price, Tony Stevens, Roger Earl, and Colin Earls on the piano. Dave Edmunds additional guitars, because he actually produced this one as well, and Todd Rudgren, never pronounce his name right, does some piano. Andy Fairweather Low does some backing vocals. And the first track is I Just Want to Make Love to You. They've done a version of this before, and it's still good. Trouble is absolutely brilliant. Great work, guitar work here. And the piano done by Todd is brilliant. Great track. Leaving Again and Again. You can tell this has got some Dave Edmunds production on it. It's really good. Love that track. Fool's Hall of Fame, good old fashioned boogie rock. Love the track. Sarah Lee has got some great guitar work on here. Brilliant stuff. Highway Killing Me, solid track. Good old fashioned boogie rock. Maybelline, the Chuck Berry version. I think this is a better version than Chuck Berry's. It's absolutely brilliant. A Hole to Hide In, my favourite track on here. It's just oozes class and bluesy rock. Gotta Get to Know You, released in 1967. composed by Dedrick Malone and Andre Williams. I think this is better than the original. It's a great track. A solid debut album from Foghat. It's a brilliant album. Play this a lot. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.6. Coming in at number 6, we have the second album called Foghat, but it's generally known as Rock and Roll, hence on the cover, a rock and a roll. It was released in March 73. It's the classic lineup of Dave, Rod, Tony and Roger. First track on here is a Ride, Ride, Ride. Solid opening track, brilliant stuff. I Feel So Bad, an old Chuck Willis number, and they do a great version of it. They always do solid covers. Long Way to Go. I love the start of this, that little bit of keyboard at the beginning. The bass line from Tony comes in. It's just a great bass line from Tony. It's Too Late. Very country song, but I like it. What a Shame. The bass drum on this from Roger Earl really rips through your soul. Great stuff. Helping Hand, funky blues track, brilliant. Let me get my favourite track on this one. Road Fever, one of my favourite tracks by Foghat. Love the slide guitar on this, it's just brilliant from Rod. She's Gone, solid rocker, great guitar work again. Couldn't Make Us Stay, very short acoustic number which is quite nice. Another solid album, again, not a bad track on this one. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.7. Coming in number 5, we have the 6th album, released in 1976. We've got Dave Peverett on the vocals, Rod Price, Roger Earl and Craig McGregor is on the bass. First track is called Driving Real. One of my favourite tracks again. It's a great little rocker. Some really strong guitar work on this. Brilliant stuff. Don't Run Me Down. Rodder's drumming on this is fantastic. Very good drummer, which you have to be in this boogie. It's a very shuffle sound. He's really good at it, and there's some great slide guitar on this from Mr. Price. Burning the Midnight Earl. Love this. Another solid track. Night Shift. My favourite track on this album. I love this blues shuffle. Brilliant stuff. Hot Shot Love. Again, the guitar work from both Rod and Dave is brilliant. They work well on this track together. Take Me to a River again. Now this is a better version than they did on previous album. And then I'll Be Standing By. I love these tracks that start off with a bit of guitar solo. It's great keyboard in this. Once again, very consistent. A solid album from top to bottom. It's not a bad track on this. I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.8. Okay, then coming in at number 4, I've got the 5th album from 1975, Fool for the City. On here we've got Dave Peverett, Rod Price, Roger Earl, and doing the bass on this one, and keyboards is Nick Jameson. First track on this one is Fool for the City. Love this. This is typical mid-70s rock blues. Does what it says on the tin. My Babe, which is a Righteous Brothers cover. A little bit different to their version, because this version rocks, and I like it. Slow Ride. A great track. Definitely my favourite track by Foghat. I just love this track. Great guitar work. Love that bluesy sound as well. It's great stuff. Then we get a Robert Johnson cover, Terraplane Blues. It's the trouble with Robert Johnson's tracks is when they were originally recorded, it's just Robert on his guitar, nothing else. But every track I've heard people do covers of, they really give them justice. And again, they have on this. It's a great track, and they do a great version of it. Save Your Lovin' For Me, the bass line from Nick drives this song again, and you've got Nick and Rod just going round this bass line with a solid drum from Roger, which you expect. He is such a great drummer. And that's it. My thing is, it's all right. As usual, the mouse has stuck. Where are we? Where did we get to? There we go. Drive Me Home. Great track. Solid. Take It or Leave It. A little bit different. Very Eagles feel to it, and I quite like that one as well. Another really good album. It's got a few different sort of tracks on here, but they're all solid. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Coming in number 3 then, we have the 7th album released in 1978, Stone Blue. Dave, Rod, Craig and Roger on this one. And the first track is the title track, Stone Blue. Love this track. It's a little bit different again. It's a fantastic track. Great sound on it. Then a cover of Robert Johnson's Sweet Home Chicago. I've never heard a really bad version of this track. One of Robert's great songs. And once again, Foghat do a very, very good version of it. Easy Money. Love this. I love all these tracks, full stop. I love the beginning riff on this, and the bass comes in. It's just a great track. Midnight Madness, one of the mellow tracks. It's got a great bass line from Craig on here. It's got a bit of a country rock to it. Really good. It Hurts Me Too. Cracking version again of Elmore James' song. And it's the better version of the two they've done. High on Love. My favourite track on this album is that opening riff. Great bit of slide guitar, and the rest of the band come in. It's brilliant. Chevrolet, a great version of the Memphis Mini song. I think it's a little bit better than Memphis Mini's actually. Stay With Me. This is the track that the start of change of direction, but it's still a great guitar solo. Great album. Great covers. Strong stuff. So I'll give this one an RTO ranking of 8.2. Okay, then coming in at number 2, we have the first of 2 albums from 1974. This was the 4th that was released in October 1974, and it is Rock and Roll Outlaws. Dave P. Barrett, Rod Price, Craig McGregor and Roger Earl. First track is 8 Days on the Road. First recorded by Howard Tate in 1972. That's good track, but this is the best version of it I've ever heard. It's absolutely brilliant. Great rock track. They've really beefed it up. Hate to See You Go. One of my favourite tracks by the band. It's just great rock and roll bluesy sound. Dreamer, solid rhythm here from Craig and Roger that makes the song really drive it along. And then you get Dave and Rod just coming in with their little great guitar bits. Fantastic track. Trouble in My Way. It's an acoustic song with a nice rhythm guitar in it. It's really good. Rock and Roll Outlaw. Love the drumming from Roger on this. Cowbells the lot. Absolutely brilliant. Shirley Jean. Solid track. Great riffs in this. Blue Spruce Woman, a great rocker. I just love it. Then we get my favourite track and the last track, Chateau Flafty 59 Boogie. It's just 12 good old-fashioned 12-bar blues boogie shuffle. The riffs are terrific. The drumming is brilliant. A busy year, 74 of course, 2 albums in that year. This is just brilliant, not a bad track on it. It's just good old nonsense boogie rock for me. And I'll give this one an RTO ranking of 8.5. So, coming in at number 1 then, this was a difficult one between these 2 albums. of 1974, but I've gone with their third album that was released in the January of 74, Energized. This was Tony Stevens' last album until they did the reunion. So it's Dave Peverett, Rod Price, Tony Stevens and Roger Earl. First track on this one is called Honey Hush, which is a blues song written by Big Joe Turner from 1953 and recorded in New Orleans. It's a great blues track, and as usual Foghat do a great version of it. Really, really good. And then we got a thing called Interplates Music. Now this is a bluesy thing that incorporates Train Kept a Rolling by Tiny Bradshaw. Obviously Aerosmith have done a version of it. It's really good how they put their own sort of thing in, and then they put this little bit of Train Kept Rolling into it. It's really clever. And then we get Step Outside. I love this. This is a little bit funky bass in here, but it's still got roughness and rawness, and that's what I really like about the track. Golden Arrow. This does rock. It's proper 70s rock. This is great solo in this. Great track. Home in My Hand. Love the guitar work on this from both of them, Rod and Dave. Great stuff. Then we get a track called Wild Cherry. It's my favourite track on here. It's such boogie rock, and it's very similar to what Status Quo was doing here in the UK. And I'd never understand why these bands weren't big in both countries, because they were very similar at that time. Then we get an interesting version of That'll Be the Day. It's a little bit different from the original. This has got more of a 12-bar blues sound to it, and it sounds pretty good. Then we get Fly By Night, fantastic song. It's got that distinctive Foghat guitar work on it. The slide guitar's brilliant. Then the last track is called Nothing I Won't Do. Some great drumming here from Roger. It's a real shuffle boogie track, and I love the guitar work on this one as well. Great way to end this album. This is one of those albums you have to play from start to finish. No popping on the needle or flicking on. It goes straight down the middle. It's just a great collection of 12-bar blues tracks and very good covers. And I can't understand why this band weren't appreciated more in this country, because they are a great band. I love playing this album. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.6. I mean, the covers on here are superb. You know, they're a band that really do good covers throughout their catalogue. I did notice I did make a bit of a cock up saying that there's a 17th album. I do apologise, but there must be one thrown in there that's not an official studio album. So I do apologise, but it doesn't matter because they're all great albums. So that's all for this. There is an extra one today. It's a birthday top 10 for Becky, who's a young lady from America. It's her birthday today, so I've done her top 10 from the United States on the day she was born. So go and check that out. But if not, we'll see you tomorrow, where we've got an interesting battle of the debuts. It's John Mayall's Booze Breakers against Cream, and there's guitarist who will remain anonymous now, was playing on both tracks of both albums at the same time. And then we got the penultimate album artwork tomorrow, and we're doing the Little Boys from Texas, ZZ Top. So go and check out the birthday top 10, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.